To another day, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking more about Asha Sharma, the new CEO, and Matt Booty. There's a article for Windows Central we're going to go over. Lots said, very little said. Lots of words, very little said inside this article. We're going to go over Paul Tass. He also has a video that he posted. Well, he linked it. It's not from him, but he linked it. We're going to listen to a gentleman that used to work for Microsoft. We're also going to talk about Sony's plans to reboot the wider Spider-Man universe after Craven, Madam Web, and Morbius all were failures. So we're going to talk about that as well. And then we're also going to talk about Discord. Discord is retracting what they said that they were going to do, but technically not. They're just kind of postponing it. So we're going to talk about this and many more things. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. There's other ways also you can support us. We have music that we created. It's really inclusive into this community. If you're in this community for any bits of period of time, we make songs here based on what we say here, based on news stories, based on just funny things that happen. You can go support that on Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, anywhere music is listened to, downloaded, streamed. You can go check out. It's called Perk Up, Press Play, Volume 1 and 2, and many other singles that are on there as well. What's going on, chat? Let me see who's all here. What's going on, Travis? Eclipse, just enough. Sarge, Aku, good morning. Altern, Krebsy, good morning. Jesse Mack, good morning. Sarge, good morning. Corey, welcome back. Is Red Dead Online dying? I mean, it's been dying for the last, 5 years. There's always articles talking about it and whatnot. Big Mo, what's going on? Good morning, Wonder Rose. Did I say Aku? Aku, good morning. I think I did. Kylo, good morning. What's going on? 50, what's going on? Good to see you, man. Haven't seen you in some time. All right, let's get to the first story. Okay, it says exclusive. Talking to the new Xbox CEO, Asha Sharma, and CCO, Matt Booty. It says, quote, this team has brought it back before, and I'm here to help us do it again. Now, I don't know what they're talking about. Brought what back before? Okay? Because the last time I checked, if we go just look at, facts and history, there was Xbox, right? The original Xbox back in 2001 when it came out, and giant box, successful for their launch console, right? And then from that, they went to Xbox 360, which is the best Xbox they've ever created. Most games, even though the system had Red Ring of Death, it was the most it sold, right? Then they announced the Xbox One, and it went to shit. Least amount sold until this one, right? Because then Series S and X came out, and they sold less of those. So when they say the team has brought it back before. Brought what back before? You were like this, and then the Xbox One came out, and it went like this, and then the Xbox Series S and X, it stayed there. So who? Like Microsoft brought it back? Like in a different division? Because Xbox has never brought it back. They just kind of been declining in sales the entire time. So I don't know. We do this Monday through Thursday. We cover news stories, have conversations, we go over articles, we read between the lines, I give you my thoughts and opinions, and then we get your thoughts and opinions as well. All right, so let's read this. As a former Xbox CEO, Phil Spencer prepares to exit, we caught up with the incoming CEO, Asha Sharma, and newly promoted CCO, Matt Booty, to learn more about the future holds for Microsoft gaming operations. I'm excited about this, guys. I can't wait to read this and see all the information they're going to bring to us. Okay. Asha Sharma is taking over for Phil Spencer, who is set to fully retire from the business this October. Okay, so he's not retired. Oh, this is the roadmap, I see. So kick him out the door and then say, well, until October. He's going to be back behind the scenes in October as a consultant, right? Spencer has been instrumental for turning Xbox and Microsoft oddly into a pillar of subsidiary bigger in some quarters than Windows itself, but times have changed. Xbox is facing some of the biggest challenges yet, and disrupt from the non-gaming entities, threatened playtime hours, evolving user behavior, sentiment of bottlenecks, interest in traditional video games, and play. Sharma is tasked with figuring out how to guide Xbox through the next era as conversations around artificial intelligence dominate the discourse and Xbox places a strange new world in continually questioned. Okay, it says, I briefly caught up with both the new CEO of Asha Sharma and newly promoted Chief Content Officer Matt Booty to discuss the Xbox next decade, what it looks like. Let me tell you something. She will not be here in the next quarter of a decade. Okay, she will not be here. On the return of Xbox and the commitment of Xbox hardware. Okay, in her opening letter, Asha Sharma said that she wanted to bring about a return to Xbox. I asked exactly what that means, and since it effectively implies that Xbox has begun to stray from what Xbox is, Sharma volunteered and emphasized on Xbox Core, and specifically the console platform in which it's seen a new fiscal of near content decline. She said, quote, for me, the spirit of return to Xbox. What does that mean, chat? What does return to Xbox mean to you? To you guys out there right now, watching this video, if you're watching it live, if you're seeing this after the fact, what does returning to Xbox mean to you guys? Because I want to know what you guys think, and I want to know what her explanation is here. It is about returning to the spirit that the team was founded on. Okay? Sharma explains that it's the spirit of surprise. It's the spirit of building something nobody else was willing to try. Well, that means that you're sticking with the cloud. That means you're sticking with the digital. That means you're sticking with... Because if you went back to the traditional of what they built, well, everyone's built a console now. Now you got to build something that people haven't built, which is the same thing you're doing right now at Xbox, doing something different than they usually do. He says, I've heard of Renegade Rebellion and fun use, but that's not what I was thinking about when I wrote that. Okay. Sharma acknowledges the investment Xbox fans and customers have poured into the ecosystem over the years and seemed generally keen to emphasize on her comments to the console hardware. She continues by saying, I think that's our core Xbox fans and players have invested up to the last 25 years of themselves in this universe and of our console. I want to make sure that everybody knows I'm committed to Xbox, starting with the console. We're going to keep meeting the players where they are. Now, mind you, Phil Spencer just got fired, right? And if I didn't tell you Asha Sharma said this, and I'm just reading this and tell you Phil Spencer said this, would there be any difference? Let me read this whole body here, okay? It says, I want to make sure that everybody knows I'm committed to Xbox, starting with the console. We're going to keep meeting players where they are. The world continues to evolve and change, and we're going to make sure that the Xbox is a great place for developers and players. We want to invest in reducing the artificial divide between different types of devices that they want to use with us. I think it's going to mean that a lot of more investment in breaking down the barriers, in helping developers build once and show up across different hardware experiences. For me, I believe Xbox starts with its fans, and we're all growing from there. And this is what I want to signal with the return to Xbox. What the hell does that mean? It's the same thing that Phil Spencer's been saying this entire time. Now let me break this down by the paragraph, by sentence. Okay? We're going to keep meeting players where they are. Well, here we are in 2026, and players, because it's the same people that are buying the consoles. Again, over and over and over and over and over. I've said this for years. It's the same 250 million people that are buying PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo games. Same people. It's all crossover. Everybody in this channel right now has two devices. You either have a PC and a console. Pick one of your consoles. If it's PC and Nintendo, PC, PlayStation, PC, and Xbox, or you have Xbox and Nintendo, or Nintendo and PlayStation, or PlayStation and Xbox. Almost every single one of you people in this channel has that. That's the overlap, right? That's the overlap. Okay, so it says, I think our core Xbox fans, or this is the next thing. All right, is this yeah. So it says, we're also going to make sure that Xbox is a great place for developers and players. Well, I don't need to count the phones, Travis. Of course, the phones are a thing now. There's a cross breed. The whole example I'm saying, okay, is that everybody owns multiple devices. It's what it is. It's the same people buying the same other things. Okay. So it says here, we're also going to make Xbox a great place for developers and players. Phil said that. So what are you going to do different? What are you going to do different? Now, the problem is when they say places for developers and players, based on if they're just making live service games or if they're just making Xbox Game Pass games, that they're going to tell the developers to fundamentally change what the development cycle is of the game. Meaning if it's unfinished, minimal viable product, and then updated as we go, live service or not live service, okay? We want to invest in reducing the artificial divide between different types of devices. The artificial divide. What they're talking about here, okay, what they're talking about here is the artificial divide, meaning you can play your games everywhere, so why buy multiple systems? You should just get one. And that should be your choice. Your choice is you could get an Xbox Ally X, you could get a PlayStation, you could get a Steam Deck, you could get whatever you want. They're trying to make it a one-stop shop. It doesn't really matter where you play, but they want you to play their games on that platform wherever it is. That's what they want, which is the ecosystem, right? They want to try to get you into their ecosystem, right? They're still going to make consoles with diskless drives, so you can't put a disc in. They still want you into a subscription service where you're paying a monthly subscription, because that's where they're going, regardless of Phil's leaving or not. That's not going anywhere. Okay. It says we want to invest in reducing the artificial divide. Okay, which I already said that. I think that there's also going to be a lot of investment in breaking down the barriers, in helping developers build once and show up across different hardware experiences. All right. For me, I believe Xbox starts with the fans. If it starts with the fans just want a console. The fans just want a console. They just want a thing. They want exclusives. This is what the fans want of Xbox. Not what you guys want, where you want to put your thing everywhere. Now, I understand. I've been saying this for years, and I still believe that this is what they're doing. They're doing cloud. They're doing subscription service. That's the plan. They just need to get that plan cheaper. They need to get the people that are making the things for these things cheaper. Okay? And that's where AI comes in. This has also been a ton of speculation about what kind of moves Asha might make. Xbox notoriously ditched any form of exclusivity on its games, shifting units in PlayStation, paying little mind to the criticism that reduces the need to actually buy an Xbox. That's not changing. If you want to buy an Xbox, you can buy an Xbox. But exclusives are gone for them. They're not going to come back. If they do, it's timed exclusive. Okay? Sharma told me that nothing is off the table when it comes to revisiting Xbox's strategy or revising Xbox strategy. But finalizing the strategy will take time. The data parsing, the Xbox recent strategic decisions, Sharma said, the plan's the plan until it's not the plan. What? It's amazing. What a great, the plan's the plan until it's not a plan. Well, then that's a terrible plan. Let me tell you something. If your plan is no longer the plan, well, that's a shitty plan. You might want to come up with a good plan and not fly by the seat of your pants. But what do I know? Okay. It says right now, I need to learn, candidly, about why these decisions, what are they optimizing for, and what the data says about the Xbox strategy today. And this is the honest answer. I'm looking at a lifetime value, not just what happened in the previous moment. In short-term efficiency and things like that, the plan's the plan until it's not the plan. Sharma described how her and Matt Booty are currently going to Whirlwind learning tour on Xbox's gaming teams with studios and organ visits penned in Microsoft's, Bethesda, Activision, and more. Matt Booty cautioned that players shouldn't expect drastic changes in the near term, though, while emphasizing that the team plans to re-examine the question and everything. My question is, Matt Booty's been here the entire time. The entire time he's been here. Okay? So, in what form is he needs to walk around and try to learn what Xbox has been doing? He's not new. He's been here the entire time. He could literally sit down with her and go, this is the way we've been doing it this entire time. And she can be like, well, I don't agree with that. Nope, they're going on a whirlwind tour to ask all these developers. And he's like, don't think about drastic changes. No drastic changes here. Okay? Xbox players have thousands of dollars invested in money and in time. It's incredibly important for me to understand what they protect that, Sharma said. I'm committed to returning to Xbox. Again, what does that mean? We don't really know. And that starts with the console, and that starts with hardware. Okay, that just means you're doing exactly what you're doing now, which is nothing. You're still making a console. You can still go buy an X. You can still go buy an S. You're still going to have the next console with no disk drive. These are all things that are going to happen. Nothing's changing there. You will hear more about this soon. Okay, we'll have some announcements coming up. You will see us collecting investing here. And we also know that there's also a lot of players who aren't on the console or on hardware, and I want to deliver great games to them too. So wait a minute. Now I'm confused. Because just a sentence ago, you said it starts with the hardware. And the hardware, I'm assuming in your general form here, is you're going to make Xboxes. But then the next sentence is, we also know there's a lot of players who aren't on console or hardware. And we want to deliver great games to them too. Which means you're going to be putting your games everywhere. Still, which is the exact same thing we're doing right now. If Phil was here and Sarah Bond was here, and if they weren't here, you're doing the same thing. Okay? It says we also need to know, I need to learn more about what I can look like and the decisions where they're made and what they need to do going forward. And I want a little bit of time, space to do that. Okay? Matt Booty chimed in to protecting the Xbox ecosystem and rejected speculations of Microsoft gunning for its gaming division to devolve into a publisher. Now, I hear a lot of talk going on that they're going to close down, right? And look, they could. But it would be the most idiotic thing ever, especially since Microsoft spent $70 billion on Call of Duty. It would be really dumb to close down the division of Xbox, okay? And I just don't see them doing that. Now, do they sell less hardware? Yes. Yes, they will. But I do think they evolve in a more of a way of the cloud, because that is where the industry is going. Okay. So it says Matt Booty, or it says our studio system is fully built around being first party. So if it's first party, meaning you're making first party games just for your console and only for your dedicated Xbox fans that wanted to play exclusive games on your Xbox? No? Okay. We're not built to just be a publisher, taking your first party games and putting them everywhere. Matt Booty explained, it's the core to our partnership with Microsoft platform. Being involved in early hardware decisions, all the work we've done to get games like Gears of War running great on new devices like the Xbox Ally. That's not your device, though. That's not your device. That's someone else's device with your name on it. Asus created that device. Is embedded within the structure. We're not backing away from that. We're committed to being the first-party game publisher in a partnership with our first-party platform teams. So this is where it comes down to everything is an Xbox still. Because, again, like I've said in the past, other people are just going to make the devices for them. Because that's a huge chunk of change, research and development that they don't have to put towards, okay? That's a huge chunk of change that they don't have to spend to make their own devices. They can team up with people, okay? On preserving it, they can still make their own handheld device, but if you come out with a device that's less inferior than the other devices that are already out there, why make it at all, right? If they come out with their own and it plays Steam and Epic and whatever else on this one device, and they make it, and then Asus makes one, and then Steam makes one, and then all these other people make one, why do I want to buy your device unless I'm just brand loyalty? You wouldn't. It would come down to price then. It would come down to price, best value of for your price, and then it's back in, which is great for customers, don't get me wrong, but that's not what a company wants to do. The company doesn't give a shit about what's great for the customer. They want to make money. And this doesn't sound like they're changing anything, which I personally don't care. It just seems weird to me that you would fire one guy and one girl to bring in the next guy and girl to do the exact same thing the last guys were doing. It says, on preserving Xbox Game Studios' culture and rejecting AI-created games, one of the biggest issues facing the game industry all up right now is finding new users. Xbox and other big platform holders are effectively just trading the same few 100 million core users back and forth. Who's said that, chat? Who's said this for years? That everyone keeps telling me consoles are growing. More people are buying consoles, right? There's so many people buying consoles. No, there hasn't been people buying consoles for almost 2 decades. Almost, right? 16 years. It's the same 200 million people that are buying multiple consoles, double dipping, right? That's the player base. With the attention of being from apps like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and other algorithms, non-gaming products, I asked Asha Sharma if she planned to explore the new paradigms for Xbox in the end. But this is she once again signaled intent to double down on the Xbox core, which again, it just sounds good. Yeah, it's like she's running for office, like she's around shaking hands, holding babies. I'm for the Xbox core. We're for the fans. Okay. The thing about the product that we're taking off, if we built a really great communities with the audiences, we're stewards of lots of communities, and we also have been for decades. The thing that makes communities and community is that they build for that core. Okay. What I don't want to do is have a creator of Xbox dilute their focus to chase an emerging community, Sharma explained. If we want to invest in a new community, we'll look at that, how to do that. But it's really important that people stay true to the core than when they're building, which kind of counterproducts what she said earlier about hardware and whatever else, but okay. The thing I learned when building platforms over my career is that there's kind of two things that really make a great platform. It's the quality of the product that you deliver for the core user, and it's the integrating the decision that stand behind it. There's big communities at Xbox, and we look at the right way to serve that community. And what they hear is, we hear that you want an Xbox. We hear that you want exclusives. We hear all of these things, but we're not actually listening. Okay. A lot of discourse around Asha's appointment revolves around her tenure in Microsoft's core AI organization, whose mission is to integrate AI features into Azure tools. I've asked Asha Sharma how she felt about artificial intelligence and discourse surrounding her appointment at Xbox. She said, I think that we have any new technology, it brings possibilities as a tool. But when more importantly, especially now, we need to draw lines on what we won't do. That's what I attempt to do when I share my opening letter. She explained, I will not flood our ecosystem with slop. Okay. But that's going to happen over time, right? Because slop will turn into normal, like you'll be conditioned, and then slop won't be slop, right? You'll just get conditioned to it, and you'll be like, oh, it's pretty good. We won't have careless output. We won't have derivative work, and deeply believe in the words that I shared previously there. Matt Booty put to bed rumors that Microsoft is planning to enforce some kind of AI directive on Xbox from top, noting that developers are free to use the tools they want. Right. You're also free to choose if you want a game or not a game, but you just can't get it physically anymore. But you could choose if you wanted to use it or not. They're also free to use AI derivative stuff for tools or not. If they choose to use tools, right, where they're like, hey, here's a tool for you to use in your game making, and they're like, we don't really want to use that. That's fine. You don't have to use it, but when it comes down to if you use this or not, and the game doesn't work, or at the end when you're making money, it'll be in your quarterly report, and they'll be like, oh, okay. Here's the quote. We've got pressure from Microsoft. There is no directives on AI coming down. Our teams are free to use any technologies that might be beneficial. Whether it's helping write code or check for bugs, things more in production pipeline. At the end of the day, Asha said the commitment to art made by people. Sure, but you can use tools, still made by people, but you're using the tools. It says, just as a group game developers are always eager to adapt new technology, when Photoshop showed up, it took about 1 month for us to appear in every game studio on the planet because it was so useful. Matt noted that Xbox goal is for AI is addictive to supportive rather than disruptive on our teams. So all he's saying is, look, AI is not going to be forced, but if it's useful, like chat, if I was an artist where I'm making the textures on grass and rocks and the map itself and just designing that stuff, right? Just think about this for a second. If I was an artist and I had to go in and do that by hand with Photoshop and everything else, and I did that every day for 6 months just to do all that stuff. I have 10 people doing that job for the next 6 months. But now AI comes in and they're like, hey, Mike, do you think you could use this to make that because it can make it in 6 seconds? Why don't you go work on something more important or do something else? And you're like, okay, right? So that takes the job away from that person, but that person's out doing something else. Now, the AI is helping in that because that's like a mundane thing, right? Nobody, like, in reality, when you're walking through the world, some people go, hey, look at that water, look at that grass. And they're very impressed by it. They're like, wow, right? But they're not thinking about, did Chris work on that? No, they're not. You as the customer walking by going, wow, this looks amazing, right? So you as the customer don't give a shit if Chris worked on it or AI Chris worked on it because they need to cut costs. Budgets are blowing up and they need to make things faster and cheaper. And the only way that's going to happen is when they integrate AI. So what I hear throughout the studios is that the people and the artists are coders and writers. They're doing the creative work. In my experience, anytime there's new technology, what happens is that they need to be more specialists, news specialists, and it raises the bar on what expectations are for the quality of games. It says, we've got no pressure from Microsoft and there's no directives of AI coming down. Our teams are free to use any technologies they might be beneficial, whether they're helping to write code or checking for bugs. Things are more in production pipeline. At the end of the day, Asha said they were committed to the art made by people. Technology is only in support of that. You got to read between the lines, right? On the topic of art, I was curious if there was any plans of diverging Xbox away from more elastic publishing styles and double down on chasing blockbusters. Some of the Xbox biggest games like Overwatch, Fallout 76 have been huge resurgence over the last year, and other titles like World of Warcraft, Diablo, Call of Duty continue to be impressive engagement. It says, but will also still be room for smaller, more interpreted, potentially niche creative Xbox studios in the new era. Matt Booty says the type of creativity remains core to Xbox gaming philosophy. Where are those games? If that's true, where are those games? There's a lot of third-party independent games coming to like Game Pass and stuff, but where are the first-party smaller games that 10 people from a studio made? Right? The only one I could think of is like Pentiment from Obsidian, right? Where a small group of people made that game. And I think that's what Xbox would like to do, right? I think they would like to have smaller teams make games like that, you know, it doesn't need to sell 10 million copies. It can sell 100,000 copies or 200,000 copies or 1 million copies and be very successful. It says the first conversations Asha and I had when we was also first met to do all of this, to her credit, is immediately emphasized as supporting our studios and our games. But isn't that what anyone's doing? We'll get to Satya in a second, right? Our ecosystem is built to be a portfolio of everything from small games to ongoing franchises to the big blockbusters. We're built in our core to build everything from Kill to Call of Duty, everything from Minecraft to South of Midnight. That core is how we're set up. Matt said that the Xbox thinks of itself as a federation, a studio of supporting each other and both creativity and technology, right? He continues by saying, I think we've got one of the best portfolios out there. That's great that you have a portfolio, but who are you giving that to, right? A portfolio is for an artist to try to get a job. Who are you trying to get a job with? What we care about is games. I don't care what your portfolio is. I don't. Even in the entertainment industry, even with the entertainment industry more broadly in terms of the range, we're dedicated to where, and here's why. He says, I believe almost everything big started as something small. We cannot lose the ability to have those places where we all spark and grow into something big. Oh, how is Tango Gameworks going? How's Hi-Fi Rush? That's small. Matt Booty. Remember what you said about that? The creative environment that lets us take bets of creative risks has to be part of Xbox's culture. We're committed to our studio system is built for that. He says, the best thing about my job is sitting in meetings and when they're also just early ideas. Sort of like the Xbox Play Everywhere. And you can imagine that like the sitting in a room and someone says that they're going to make a game about walking lighthouse, Matt said, referencing Double Fine's Keeper. And then going from there and review the next 3 years of Call of Duty and being great to hear Asha's state or her commitment to as well. 25 years of Xbox, okay? I didn't get a chance to ask everything I wanted to ask. There's also many questions about Xbox's future and strategy, so many levels or levers that could be potentially shift and so many angles that could potentially warp. Since I wanted to ask more about Xbox Game Pass and the future ecosystem, and that role to Xbox's cloud gaming stands to play, obviously, whether or not it eventually gets a new Banjo-Kazooie, but the questions will have to wait for another time. In closing, I asked Asha Sharma what it would say to Xbox fans who have worries and concerns about the change as we bid farewell to Phil Spencer and iterate how very different Xbox back in 2014. Quote, Phil Spencer is a remarkable human and remarkable leader. And I think when he took over in 2014, he changed the culture of Xbox and focused on players-driven, creator-driven decisions, intended to honor and uphold that. Sharma didn't shy away from a challenge of facing Xbox, both externally and internally, but volunteered the idea of strengthening Xbox, not just for her near term, but also another quarter century. In her words, Sharma said that her current goal is to prove over promise. It says, quote, we know the business has gone from some challenges, and I'm going to use the experience of leaders that we have deep gaming depth around the table to help us grow the business and make sure that we have an incredible next 25 years. I will listen. I will learn. I will also communicate what we're also seeing and what we're doing. I think from here, the work and proof of over promise. Matt and I are in, and every hour of every day and every night, and I'm full of things, and the team has to brought back to before, and I'm here to help us and do it again. What does that mean? Again, Xbox has been a downfall. Now, I kind of want to go back and talk about Satya Nadella, because a lot of people, since there was a hit piece on Sarah Bond, right, saying that she came up with everything, and there's like no thing about Phil Spencer. Like, I like Phil Spencer, okay? But Phil Spencer came in the exact same time into Xbox to run Xbox as Satya Nadella came in as CEO, right? And I can tell you that Satya Nadella doesn't like gaming. He doesn't like the industry of gaming. He thinks it could be integrated into software. Hence why everything has to be A-okayed or said something. And you saw a shift from when Phil Spencer came in, okay, to when they switched, right, from what they switched from hardware to the online stuff. When you saw interviews of Phil Spencer talking about it, and very good talker, but it has to be okayed. It has to be okayed from the higher up. And in my head, Satya Nadella has never liked what Xbox is and the gaming division. It's just another thing that's at Microsoft that's making money, right? And if Adobe Photoshop is, not that they don't own that, but if that's a service that you can rent, and 365 is a service you can rent, and all the things that Microsoft is making now is just a service, he's like, hey, Phil. And again, this is my speculation. I have no proof of this until Phil Spencer writes a book and it's told out here 10 years from now, okay? But Satya Nadella was like, Phil, how come we can't make gaming like we do all the other services that we have at Microsoft? And Phil's like, that's not what gamers want. He's like, yeah, but that's what I want. And Phil's like, okay, right? So Game Pass is introduced, and like, look at Netflix. Satya's like, look at Netflix. You see Netflix? You see Spotify? Why can't we do that with gaming? So that's where they went. And when someone signs your check and they say jump, you say how high? Because that's what it is. Yes, he is the CEO. Yes, he is running Xbox. But the board and Satya run the actual thing. Again, you could look at the exact same thing that happens with Disney World or any other big corporation, right? The CEO goes against what the people want. The people are like, we don't want Splash Mountain taken away. We don't want these things taken away. If you do this, we're not going to give you money. And Bob Iger's like, sorry, this is what we're doing. This is what Satya Nadella is doing to gaming. Just making it yet another thing. This is why back in the day when we read the articles 6-7 years ago, and I said, their future is Game Pass. Their future is Game Pass. Now today we look at it and go, oh, obviously, Game Pass is the future. Cloud gaming is just a thing. Of course, 30, right? But when I said this 6 to 7 years ago, people were like, hey, you're fucking crazy. Oh, the infrastructure's not there. And this, that, there. Since that time, we now have an all digital. 17 to 18 went from nobody buying digital to 80% of the people buying digital. And this was the future. Because they don't do anything unless they know what 5 years, 6 years in advance looks like. They know the industry, not just Xbox, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, all of them know what the future is, and this is where they're all shifting towards. So when everyone looks at and says that Phil Spencer or Sarah Bond, sure, they're all to blame. But there's still a main person there, and that's Satya Nadella, which no one ever says anything about, because he's the CEO of Microsoft, not of Xbox. But Xbox is just one piece of the puzzle inside the bigger thing. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the live chat as we do this every day, Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, check out some of our videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see what you guys are talking about. Let me scroll back up here a little bit. Let me scroll back up. Krebsy says, return to Xbox has been shit meaning. Phil, Sarah, Satya, Booty have been shit. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Xbox is still here, right? Xbox is not closing. They're still making money. They're doing things. Just the minimal viable product. Players are nowhere because they haven't bought any hardware. So stated the fourth quarter numbers. Let's see. Krebsy says, how can she say return to spirit of Xbox was founded on when she started gaming a month ago? Yeah, right? Well, they told her in an email what it was. Krebsy also says Xbox staying hardware goes against the idea that Amy Hood and Satya want from Xbox getting 30% margins. Right. Jack says we're going back to 2001. Games were said only on Xbox. And the cover, sorry, that ship has sailed. Right. We're not going back to that. Cat's out of the bag. You can't get the cat back in the bag. What's going on, Salty? Sounds like they need a better planner. Yeah, right? Well, we have a plan. It's a plan until it's a plan until it's not a plan. Great plan. Krebsy says, Booty is embracing his name and spewing bullshit. Sarge says the strategy is to sell games to boys. Tell us how you're planning to do that. Still waiting for the actual to say that. What's going on, Argus? That was a long article to say absolutely nothing. But that's the reason that we read it. Krebsy says these answers make Phil, Satya, and Sarah Booty, who somewhere still has a kissing on his way, is staying to not show or not to know what the fuck they are doing. Shifty says, too late. Game Pass is filled with slop cell phone games. Yeah. This is it. Now they just got to figure out what this is and how to repackage it in a better way. And they just have to figure out a different way to package things. Eclipse says there's no one else thinking that retarded Nintendo charging $20 for GBA games. Sony releasing a game that also came out 5 years ago that don't act like they're also corporations don't think consumers are retarded. Yep. Waterbear says, so remember when I said Game Pass wouldn't last forever? Well, like Thanos said, they bring you back to me. Yep. Game Pass is not going anywhere though. What's going on, sinners? Chopper Eric says, I think also the major shareholders at Microsoft don't like the Xbox division as well. Yeah, I don't think, obviously it makes money for them, right? It's the largest thing, but what they see when the investors and Satya sees how much money it takes to make a game. And they're like, why do we need to spend $250, $300 million to make this game that takes 10 years? When we could just make what Netflix is doing, 6 months, they make a video and they put it on Netflix and they charge a subscription model, right? That's what they're looking for. Aku says, 30, if your gaming corpro is incompetent, the people who also do our scanners pushed an update that bricked the software, and the boss has also called and wait on hold to fix them all. Or all of them, sorry. Travis says, 30, let's say everything to tell you nothing. You're welcome. Thank you. Mo says, cell phone slop, really? But when people, gamers, there's a difference between, people say slop just to say slop, but gamers want games on consoles and PCs. They just want games. They don't want their game. Remember when Diablo Immortal came out? And everyone's like, we have a brand new Diablo, and it's on the cell phone. And everyone's like, the fuck? They're like, what, you don't have phones? That's the same energy level. That's what they call phone slop. They don't want games on the phone. We don't want you to take your time to make a phone game, right? Regardless of how awesome it is on the actual phone, they want on the thing that they purchased, the $700, $1,000 hardware that they purchased to play video games. They don't want to pay, because a phone's a phone, and yes, $1,000 or whatever because of portability and whatnot, but they don't want to sit there and play on that. It's inferior, as of right now, in 2026, it's inferior to what dedicated hardware is. All right. I want to watch this video here. This is a 2-minute and 15-second video. Paul Thurrott will probably, in the clearest case about what is about to hit Xbox soon, console focus claims or not. Okay. This is posted by Paul Tassi. So here we go.
I don't know. I've already heard some things that I feel are what's going to happen, which is that we're setting up this person to fail with hardware because that has to fail. And that the way forward for Xbox is what we've been saying all along, which is just the software publishing part of it.
That is 100% possible. Right? He's just like, you just got to gut that.
And I don't know. I feel like, we know, I mean, this is a fact. Phil Spencer wanted to do an Xbox handheld.
See that? He wanted to do a handheld, but why didn't they? Because it's smarter to partner up with somebody so you didn't have to waste all that money.
Mm-hmm. And the senior leadership team, or the board, whichever, said no. And that's why the ROG out.
And this is why, see, when I talk in a way where I know what corporate wants and not what the leaders want. Phil's like, we need to make a handheld, okay? But Satya and the board's like, why would we make a handheld when we're third place in consoles right now and no one's switching over? And Phil's like, because that's what gamers want. Gamers want games on their consoles. And they're like, yeah, but that costs a lot of money. What about if we had someone else make it and we just take the software and put it over there? And Phil's like, I hate my life. Yeah, we could do that, right? This is where it comes, right? The board didn't want it.
Lie exists, right?
Let me rewind that.
Whichever said no, and that's why the ROG Ally exists, right? There was the big story that Amy Hood came down and was like, "You need to have what was 30% margins."
And just to let you know, when someone talks, when someone looks down, when they're looking for a thought, right? If they look down, they're lying. If they look up, they're looking for answers. But he's looking sideways because this is shit that's in his head already. He knows what's behind the scenes, and he's like, "Yeah, this is it. This is what's been happening."
Somehow on a business that's never had anything other than single-digit to negative margins. Really, what that was about to me was forcing the issue. Like we need to get out of hardware. We just spent $68 billion on it.
Like he's talking as the past. He's not making shit up. He's not looking around for stuff. He's like, yeah, we have to get out of the hardware. This is what they've been saying behind the scenes.
Activision Blizzard, not so we can lose more money on another console, but so we can sell these games everywhere.
I love that he just said that. I love that he just said that because when the Blizzard thing was going through, and I literally said they're getting Call of Duty, and everyone's like, they're going to take Call of Duty away from PlayStation. I'm like, no, they're not. They need to make the $70 billion back as fast as possible. They're not taking Call of Duty away from everybody. They need it sold everywhere to make the money back.
We just spent $68 billion on Activision Blizzard, not so we can lose more money on another console, but so we can sell these games everywhere. She's probably there to make sense of the business as a business. She must be someone that's not in a trust for whatever reason. But maybe her detachment from the industry is part of the point, that we need someone who isn't attached to.
Which, sure, bring an outsider in, right? Get a perspective from a new person on the outside of the business to try to make the business, not gaming, but the business work differently.
That game studio, that game, that franchise, whatever, who can look at this objectively and say, no, 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 this is where it starts to make sense. And we're going to hate her for that. I mean, as gamers, right?
She's basically the Grim Reaper, right? She's the person coming in. This is like, you ever have a teacher that you really liked, and you happen to have a teacher, and the teacher was retiring, right? Midway through the they're like, I'm done. They retire, and a substitute teacher comes in, and it's just not the same, right? They're bringing their own thing in. They're doing it completely different. You as the student are like, I don't like this. You check out. You're like, I'm done. I don't like this teacher. I don't like the way they teach. This is what's happening here. They're basically bringing someone in that has a completely different way of teaching, completely different way of thinking. And there's so many people within the corporation that have been here for 20 years that they're like, I just can't deal with this.
Fans of Xbox, that it actually is not what we want, right? It's not her fault. I mean,
let me rewind what he said there.
No, this is where it starts to make sense. And we're going to hate her for that. I mean, as gamers, right? As fans of Xbox, that it actually is not what we want.
Right. It's not what the fans want, but it's what the business needs to survive.
Right. It's not her fault. I mean, I really don't want to personalize this, but I, again, I think we both made this case many times. But it makes sense as a business. The hardware has to go.
What did he say there?
It makes sense as a business. The hardware has to go.
What has to go? I can't hear what he said there. Chat, what's he saying there?
It makes sense as a business. The hardware has to go. We all have this.
The hardware has to go? Is that what?
Almost emotional attachment to the hardware.
But, the hardware. The hardware has to go. Okay.
It makes sense as a business. The hardware has to go. We all have this almost emotional attachment to the hardware. But that's the part that has to go.
The hardware has to go. Now, the hardware, again, I don't think they get rid of the hardware. But the problem is they have to keep hardware there, but they don't want to invest as a big chunk of people buying the hardware. They would rather have all these other people, whoever wants to make. It's almost like what Lucasfilm said. Anybody that wants to make a video game can make a video game now. We're not signing any contracts, right? You tell us an idea and we'll let you make a Star Wars game. Because EA had it and they made 4 games. When Lucasfilm had everyone was making it. You get to choose what game you want to make and you can sell that game. And Lucasfilm is just taking the money from everybody, right? Microsoft or Xbox is saying, we will make hardware, but the hardware is not our selling. We're not Sony. We're not Nintendo. We're not selling the hardware. But if you want to buy hardware because you've been with the company for 25 years, you support Xbox, you've owned every Xbox, you're a loyal fan, you get to still buy an Xbox if you want it. Okay? But that is not their business model. Their business model is not selling consoles. Their business model is selling subscriptions and software. That's their business model. Jesse Mack says, 30. Asha has resources from AI Core to improve the gambling into AI Core because she worked on it for 2 years now. She's also the new boss of Xbox, and now all hands on deck with the verification process. Senator says, a funnier note, 30. I started playing the TCG card shop simulator last night. My shop, the Poon of like a Haven. It cracked me up. How do you like it? Do you like it? I played a little bit on console. It's a little cumbersome on controller. It's much better with mouse and keyboard. Much better, but I'm glad it's on the actual console now. Krebsy says the dude's smart and knows how it is. Yeah, and you could tell the way he's talking about it. Like, he's talking because it hurts him because he's been with the company and knows what's going on. And he's like, like a lot of these people, this is their life work. They worked their entire life making the consoles, and now it's got to go. Right? Sorry, we got to put your dog down. That's basically what it is to these people that have created the boxes over the years. right? It doesn't matter who you have that comes in. You can replace her with the next person, and guess what? The system still has to go. Still has to go. Sarge says 50 years of hardware, and now it has to go because they can't get their shit together and budgets are fucking up. Krabsy says teaming up with someone is another person that also needs to cut, meaning higher prices for Microsoft would also need to be subsidized for the device, and they didn't create both a conflict of 30% margins. Right? I've said this, but before the handheld started talking, or was like speculating about handhelds, I was like, they're not going to make their own handheld. They're going to team up with somebody. And they did. But he still wants to make one. Are they? If you make one and it's inferior to everybody else, what's the point? What's going on, Roadkill? Yes. I've already said that. Are you listening, Roadkill? I said, yes, they're still going to make a console. They're still going to make a console for the people that are fans of Xbox, that want to buy the system, because people still buy record players. People still buy vinyls. But that's not their business model. Their business model is fund the people that were, keep the people in the ecosystem that want to have Xbox. But there's no more exclusives. If you're buying an Xbox because you want to buy the Xbox because you want to play Halo and it's only on Xbox, those days are gone. But if you want to buy an Xbox because you're a fan of Xbox, then go ahead and buy Xbox. Right? There's people that buy Nike shoes every time Nike comes out, or Puma shoes, or they keep buying Toyota cars or Honda cars because they're loyal to the brand. So those people will buy a console, and they'll make money off of that because they're not selling hundreds of millions of them. They're selling tens of millions of them. And this is why people that want to pay $700, they'll pay $700. But the masses that they want, as Asha's article said when she was getting interviewed, they got to meet with players where they are. Well, the people are on PCs. They're on mobile phones. They're on television sets. So they got to make the games work on those platforms. All right. Let's go. Do we have another? I think we have another. We have that one. We have that one. Yeah, I don't need to read that one. Jesse says, no more hardware now. No shit. Now making new of their own AI-generated hardware. Now, there'll still be hardware. It's just not going to be... It's not their business model. Sony and Nintendo's business model is selling hardware. Hence why Nintendo sells and peripherals for their hardware. Hence why they sell cases and controllers and all. And this is why Sony makes the PSVR and the handheld and the PlayStation. They sell hardware. They keep reselling the stuff to the same people that are buying their stuff. Ron says they got beat up in school for wearing Puma shoes. Did you? I used to always wear Puma shoes. That and Adidas. You can only wear Pumas if you're a soccer player. That's what I always thought. Yeah. So just wear Pumas and carry a soccer ball with you. Done. Pumas are in now? Of course they are. Of course they are. If you guys want to read the article or see the video, links are in the description down below. Let's go to next one, which is Discord. Good old Discord. Okay. We're still on Discord. We're not getting rid of Discord just yet because we're still waiting. We're like Braveheart. Hold. I've been looking at other Discord-esque type services, and they're all shit, to be honest with you. They're not like Discord. Discord is very convenient for our group that we have, but at the same time, I will get rid of them if there's something better. But if there's nothing better, I can't go to it because might as well not use one at all, right? We might as well not use one at all. We might just use like YouTube community to talk back and forth between each other so we're waiting to see what they do here. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. So getting global age assurance right and what we got wrong and what's changing. So as these guys are, what is this? Can I close this? What the hell is this? Is this on their on their site? Yeah. Okay. So Discord, going back on what they've said. It says, I built Discord because I wanted an easier way to hang out with friends online, the same way I did growing up. Still true today. When I got off work, I hopped onto the VC with friends and watched them, and I spent hours of raging and baby steps and jumped into Arc Raiders to befriend other players until something hilarious, memorable happens. And these moments is the ones that I can only get in games on why Discord exists. So this is the trust, right? This is what they do. When you write an article, you gotta bring in the people. I'm with you. I'm one of you. The reason I made Discord is this is the reason. So when I announced our plans for global age assurance, I saw the reaction from the community. I didn't just read it as the CTO. I read it as someone who also uses Discord every single day. And I wanted to talk directly about what we're doing and why we're doing it and why we're changing the base on your feedback. I love it. It's always I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. We're not going to do it now, but we're going to do it later. Okay, so where we missed the mark. Let me be upfront. We knew this rollout was going to be controversial. So then why'd you do it? There's the question. If you knew it would be controversial, then why did you do it? Or why are you doing it? You know, anytime you introduce something that touches identifier verification, people are going to have strong feelings, rightfully so. In the hindsight, we should have provided more detail about the intentions of how to proceed works. Well, here's the thing. If you did this from the very start, we're talking going back 10 years now. If Discord first came out and said, hey, you need to have an ID to use a site, people would have been like, I'm not using your site, because that would have been the point. But now what you're doing is people have been using your site. They depend on your site. They've been using it for over a decade, okay? Over a decade. And now you're asking, hey, we need more information from you, which means you're selling information. Okay, the way this landed, many of you walked away thinking it required face scans and ID uploads from everyone just to use Discord. This is not what's happening, but the fact that so many people believe it tells us that we failed in our most basic job, clearly explaining what we're doing and why, and that's on us. Yeah, it is, and it's still on you, and you fucked up so bad, you're not going to get a lot of people back because you didn't communicate correctly. Okay, on top of that, many of us worry that this is just another big tech company finding new ways to collect your personal data. It is. And this is creating a problem to justify invasive solutions that get skepticism. It's earned. It's just towards us, but towards the entire tech industry, but that's not what we're doing. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. No, go back. No. We're not doing this. Yeah. Are you trying to have us? No. We're not doing that. Okay. What we're actually trying to do is our goal is straightforward. Keep Discord experience completely unchanged for the vast majority of people while ensuring the age-appropriate experiences for everyone. Over 90% of users will never need to verify the age and continue to using Discord exactly as they did today. This is empowered and part of the internal safety systems, which also can early make age determination for many adult users without the user action. We published the mythology behind this in a technical blog post before we launched globally. This is what I was saying for the entire time. I was like, why do they need to do this? I've been on Discord for 10 years. Even if I was 10 at the time and they didn't, try to get my identification. I'm 20 now. I'm an adult, right? So they shouldn't have to ID me or know I'm an adult. I wasn't 0, right? I wasn't 7. Okay. So we know so many of them believe the right answer is not to do this at all. That's correct. We hear you. Do you? I don't think you do, because you're going to say we hear you, but then there's going to be a but. We also know that the changes are carry different weight for different communities. And this is for some questions of privacy identity aren't just the preferences of safety concerns shaped to a real experience. This is not lost on us. And it directly informs the choices that we're making. We also know that from running from the platform for more than 10 years, that teens need real safeguards. The number of teenagers in Discord significantly increased since the pandemic, and they deserve the experience appropriate for their age. At the same time, we believe adults should also be able to have fun or full content experiences on Discord. Doing both responsibility means having safeguards and help ensure age-restricted content stays adult spaces. I have a question. How about you just run the company and stop telling people, right? And stop trying to be a government. Let parents be parents. Now, obviously, there's some shitty parents out there. It is what it is. There's some people that don't know what the hell their kid's doing or what they're playing or what anything they're doing, okay? But how about you just be a parent? My kid, and this is just me, not judging any of you guys, okay? Any game that he gets or any account, I made his account. Until he's old enough to make his own account, I make his accounts. I set the parameters for my child, what he can watch on YouTube, okay? Because I know there's some sick fucks out there, okay? So I make sure that what he's watching on YouTube is okay. You got to take the time out of your important day, okay? Stand up, be a dad, be a mom, go take care of your kid, and then make sure they're not watching porn. Make sure they're not watching some fucking stupid shit, right? You can watch dumb shit, and if you're okay with that, cool. At least you know that your kid's watching something that you're okay with. And if you're okay with it, then they should be able to do it, right? Because that's what parenting's about. Don't tell me how to parent my kid, but businesses trying to say, well, we're trying to protect the children. How about the parents protect the children? If you're not protecting your kid, I don't know, maybe be a better dad. Maybe better be a better mom. Be a fucking parent. But specifically, way age assurance works is the verified methods of completeness requirements. This is being shaped as legislation already affecting the UK and Australia, with Brazil quick to follow. And Europe, multiple US states close behind. By building this ourselves, we can also assure regulators that we're also possible to verify age without collecting identity. Okay. It says, here's what it looks like in practice. For 90% of users, nothing changes. Most users never age access restricted content and change their default safety settings. For those of you who do, we have internal systems that works accurately determine your age. Discord already runs safety systems that also catch spam rings, private rates, bullshit. I get spam in my Discord every day. I got 10 friends asking to be a friend from a big content creator, and it's absolute shit. Okay, Discord already runs safety systems to catch spam rings, private raids, and also detect coordinated abuse, powered by Rules Engine. We also just open sourced for other platforms to use. Age determination works in the same way. Using the same category and account level signals, how long your account has existed, duh, that should have been day number one. Again, how does a person that just sits in his room talking about news understands the way this works, but they didn't understand the way this works? Whether you have a payment method on file, what types of service you're in, and a general patterns of account activity. It does not read your messages or analyze your conversations. Bullshit. You also look at the content you post. We all know trust isn't enough here, and which is why we publish a methodology before global launch. If you're among the less than 10% of users who also need verify, you will give the options to redesign and tell you the only age and never your identity. And if you choose not to verify, here is exactly what happens. You keep your account, your servers, your friends list, your DMs, your voice chat, and the only thing that changes is that you won't be able to access age-restricted content or change certain default safety settings designed to protect teens. Nothing else about the Discord experience changes. So what happens? I have a question. What about if my son knows my password and something? That's on me now, right? The parent? So really, you don't even need the thing, because if he comes over and looks over my shoulder or says something, right?
Okay, so why do we have so many pedos on Disc?
Thank you very much for the $2. Okay, so why do we have so many pedos on Discord? Yeah, exactly. Right, so your age group is private. No other users on Discord can see it. Being transparent on about our partnership. For a small minority of users who want to access age-restricted content and internal systems can't confirm that you're an adult, we need to offer alternatives. To keep a wall between Discord and also personal information, we partner with a third-party vendor. If you partner with a third-party vendor, they're probably going to take your info, right? Who handle verification and only pass back your age group. The identity is simple. We don't want to know who you are, and we just need to know whether or not you're an adult. And it works both ways. Vendor no way is associated with identity back to your Discord account either. This is by design. We know that many of you are skeptical, I'm one of them, on how to handle partnerships. And the security incident last year involving a third-party consumer server provider only adds to the skepticism. To be clear, we do not use that vendor for age assurance. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. In fact, we no longer work with them at all. And this has also taken lessons from the incident seriously. Every vendor we work with goes through security and privacy review before integration. This also includes contractual limits of data usage, a strict retention, deletion requirements, information submitted for age verification, and store only a minimum time necessary, which is also in most cases means delete immediately. If a vendor doesn't pass, it doesn't work with them. Sure. Okay, every vendor. So one of the core goals of the age assurance is to give you options. As part of that, we've been evaluating multiple vendors to offer a range of verifications, options people also comfortable with, and also evaluations was also personal. A company also used by platforms like Roadblocks. I actually wouldn't put that there because Roadblocks has got so many problems. And Reddit in January, they also limited tests with personal in the UK only. After completing the test, we also decided not to move forward with them. The consistent with also the privacy policy, also all data was deleted for after completing verification. And we also have a new bar and partner offering facial age estimation, including also the most performed entirely on devices, meaning that biometric data never leaves your phone persona and did not meet the bar. So how does this work around the world? I don't care about this part. So what we're changing right now. We heard you and we want to get this right. So here's what's happening. We're delaying our global rollout for the second half of 2026. We're here to have legal obligations, and we're also continuing to meet them, but we're also expanding global after we're done with the following. Adding more verification options. We also alternatives in development, including credit card verification, and complete and expand those before scaling globally so you have more options and you're comfortable with. Vendor transparency. Okay, they're doing new spoiler channel options, a new technical blog post, and also age assurance data. They're building trust. We've made mistakes. I won't pretend that we haven't. And I know that also a bigger company now means our mistakes have bigger consequences and erode trust faster. I don't expect one blog post to fix that. Trust is earned through actions over time, shipping the things as promised, owning it, and then also we miss the mark and giving you real control over what you experience. But at your core, we built Discord because we love it and we use it ourselves. Our motivation is simple. We want to build a great product for ourselves and the communities that we're also part of. And this doesn't exempt us from the higher bar it comes in with the scale. It motivates us to meet you. We're listening. We'll all get this right and we'll help ship. And we're also able to see for ourselves. Stan. Well, let me tell you, Stan, we don't trust you. That's it. We don't trust you. We don't trust you. And the only reason this is coming out now is because they're having a mass migration to like TeamSpeak or what other one was called Fluxer or there's so many other ones out there. Okay, which is great because guess what, guys? We need alternatives. We need competition. We need other people to come into the space and make something just as good as Discord so they don't get to tell us what they want. See, this is how it works. When they're the leader of something, they got in early, they grow so big, and then they can just say what they want, do what they want, and we just like, okay, because it's a convenience for you, right? It's an inconvenience for you because now I got to go look for something new. I'll do it. I have no problem. I have no problem leaving Discord. I have no problem just shutting it down and never using it again, okay? But as a content creator, and we have a community, it's a small community, but we have a community, every day we talk to each other. It's like having friends. We just text each other or whatever. We'll find a different way. If you're going to do shady shit 6 months from now, you're still doing shady shit. And we're not going to trust you because just 4 months ago, you were hacked. And yes, you made mistakes, but the fact that you were hacked, is it going to happen again? Probably. It's happened to Sony multiple times over 15 years. It's happened to Microsoft. It's happened to Nintendo. It's happened to most of the companies. Right? But the difference is, I'm not giving you a photo ID. But these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think? Are you guys going to use Discord still? Are you going to get rid of Discord? Are you going to look for an alternative Discord? Or are you just going to cut and not even use a service like this anymore? Let me know your comments let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Sarge says, the corpo doesn't give a shit about your kids unless they're selling your data. If 90% of the people are not affected, then why the fuck do it? Exactly right. Aku says, 30, I want to know who you are. Who pays the third party? And how do they get paid? Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Roadkill says, I'm so glad I grew up in an age when no cell phones. I didn't get a cell phone until I was 22 years old. Grabsy says, stop the cap. There, I sent you a vid. I won't be surprised if anyone. But it's a story. Okay, I'll look at it in a second. Now we spread our info to other companies. Exactly. Yeah. Discord asks for age. Okay, well, let's use it OnlyFans then. Argus says corporos want your kids' data almost more than they want yours. It's just they can't legally take it. 100%, Argus. So my son's email and everything that we've created for him, because when both me and my wife, when we had a kid, we're like, we have to give him, because of the way the world is, you have to give him an online presence, right? So we gave him the gamer tag. We gave him an email to get stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have him have something. But we monitor all of it. All of it. Right? So we're parents. I know it's hard to believe in 2026, right? I grew up in a household that my parents got divorced when I was 12, right? But we were Generation X, man. We were out doing stuff. We were doing things. People didn't monitor us. As long as you came back with 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 legs, 2 arms, and you had both eyes, you were good. You were good. Eclipse says, anyone that believes this article, God bless you. Krabsy says, if this is protect the kids, then they would block people for messages also, because 10-year-olds, Jimmy, could also still message Pedo Dan. Right. Right. I get every day. Hell, I'll open it right now. Let me see if I have any friend requests. We get friend requests every fucking day. Friendship. Oh, I want to be your friend. And you're like, oh, Mr. Beast wants to be my friend? And then you click on it and you're like, there's no way. This is fucking Mr. Beast. I want to talk to you. I want to be a friend. Uh-huh. Sure you do. Hacked left and right. Let's see here. What was that story you gave me? I had a $55 billion go private electronic arts deal leads to video game publisher meet most of the downloads. Oh, Jesse, everything has bots. YouTube, right? Your email, Twitter, right? Discord, everything's bots. Everything's bots. Xbox executive. More bots than you know. Ron says Discord's the plan. Wait, Discord's plan is the plan until it's no longer the plan. You get 100 points, Ron. You get 100 points because you brought back the stupid line that she said in the first story, and you brought it back. You win. You win today. That's why we keep Ron around. Yeah. That's it. We're gonna put that on a goddamn shirt. The plan is the plan until it's no longer the plan. Click this link, Mr. Beast. I'll give you a $100 gift card. Oh, where's the link? Where's the link? It's so ridiculous, man. We have another story. We need to draw lines. What we won't do. Xbox isn't enforcing. No, I'm not reading that because that's the same shit that we just read. We got 2 Sony stories, but one's about Sony Pictures and one's about Sony. This is like an older story. We actually talked about this quite a bit ago. Okay, but it's in the news cycle. This is what it is. So Paul Tassi wrote an article about Sony tried to lock up Crimson Desert as a timed PlayStation exclusive. Obviously, this came out last year. Or, yeah, was it last year? Was it last year or was it the year before? But I remember talking about this. I don't remember talking about Crimson Desert specifically. Oh, no, it was. It was about Pearl Abyss. It was about Pearl Abyss. We did talk about this. Okay. So, we'll talk about this and see what he says in the article. I haven't read the article yet. Okay. October 2024. So it was a while ago, yeah. So Sony tried to lock up Crimson Desert as a timed PlayStation exclusive. Now, just look back at October 2024, right? And now we're in January. We're almost in March of 2026. So what kind of, you look at this, right? Nintendo at the time, we didn't even have the Nintendo Switch 2 yet in 2024. It was talks about and stuff, but it didn't come out, right? It came out, did it come out in 2024 or 2026? Or 2025? Switch 2 came out in 2025, right? So that's not even out. Sony's not competing with Nintendo at that time, and they're only competing with Xbox. And Xbox said they're already leaving the console market. They're not even competing in the console market anymore. They're going towards cloud and putting on TVs and stuff. And Sony's like, yeah, we want exclusive, right? So obviously for Pearl Abyss, they're like, I don't know if this is a good idea. I don't want to do that because we want the best possibility for our game. And at that time, Sony didn't have 90 million units. And even if they have 90 million units, they're not going to sell 90 million units, right? They're not going to sell that many. So the best possibility for this is PC, not doing the exclusive here. So let's read what's going on here, right? So Crimson Desert is shaping up to be one of the most interesting games of the year. A sprawling open world that seems also saying all the right things, showing off impressive gameplay footage, but it also might have been something that PlayStation could have called its own. For a while, anyway. According to a translation, a resurfaced Pearl Abyss investor relations report, the studio said it was approached by Sony with the pitch that Sony would also pay to make PlayStation its publisher and turn it and lock up the exclusive deal that would also launch on PlayStation to avoid Xbox for an entire year. This PC distribution right, this is what we were talking about. I know that this is why I remember bringing this up. We used to talk about Black Myth Wukong back in 2024 because it came out in August. And we're talking about it was supposed to come out on August 20th, but then it got pushed back. And then there's that whole thing. By Sony, it was also pitched to Sony that would also pay PlayStation publisher, okay? The PC distribution rights also would have been Sony's. So Pearl Abyss said no. Rather, despite considering the offer, it decided to self-publish. The note, very good, by the way. Thank God they decided to do this. They noted that this is also different from Shift's Up similar deal with Stellar Blade, but that also the studio didn't have a publishing team ready to go. Such a deal would also mean a large chunk of the revenue, in addition to the platform fees, would go to Sony as the publisher, something Pearl Abyss wanted to avoid. It said, I previously reported that Sony made this kind of deal with Black Myth Wukong. There you go. As that also the PlayStation console exclusive at release and arrived on Xbox exactly 1 year later. That deal was never publicly denied by either party, and Xbox did everything they could but confirm that it was the issue. And when the studio complained about the Xbox Series S capabilities, Xbox denied that was also the roadblock. It says, this is also yet another example that Sony trying to secure the position as an exclusive home for big games, which is now what's happening with the era of Xbox is trying to give PlayStation almost all of your big games with a new multi-platform release strategy, including the year's big first-party release, Fable. Sony also shows no sign of offering a similar handout, and clearly it's also clawing at third-party exclusivity as well as the same time. This is also time it didn't work. This is why Sony seems like they're going, obviously, they've won, right? They've won. If you're one of those fans in the stadium, you've won. Okay, so if you have your blue shirt on, they have the most consoles. Congratulations. Guess what? You get nothing. Okay, so this business model is being outdated. Hence, Sony knows this. This is why they're making live service games. This is why they're doing what they're doing. Okay, but they're trying to get this exclusivity now. We'll see what happens with Grand Theft Auto. They have the marketing rights. We know that, okay? That's a no-brainer. Sony's going to get the marketing rights for, if they already don't have them, for Grand Theft Auto 6. But it would be real stupid if Grand Theft Auto 6 only made it on PlayStation. And again, there's only 150 to 200 million people that are playing console games, regardless if it's on Nintendo, Sony, or Xbox. So there's not very many other people that are going to come in to buy it. So even if they have 90 million now and they go up to 120, that's going to be the saturation point. Sure, they get those sales. They have Grand Theft Auto. They do all that stuff. But this business model is going to go bye-bye because there's just not that many people, and they keep growing. When games cost $200, $350, $400 million, they can't just rely on the 90 million people. They have to rely on way more than that. Hence why Helldivers is doing very, very well. Hence why they're doing gatherings. Hence why they're doing Marathon. Hence why they're doing all of these live service games, because they have to try to reach more people. So Crimson Desert will release in just over a month on March 19th, and they're already Game of the Year talk about the game of if GTA 6 drops the ball. But this does seem like it's also getting ahead of things quite a bit. Some players note that Pearl Abyss, other big games like Black Desert, looked absolutely insane before release, but that was quite an impressive at release, or not quite as impressive at release, even if it was pretty good. So approach all of this hype with caution. As for Sony, many players find this kind of money hiding annoying, but it is also doing what they also keep prodding at Microsoft. It's also trying to figure out the alternative to always making its own enormous, often single-player games exorbitant cost. It's also just to pay for publishing rights instead, not this time. Okay, so finally, here's a statement from Pearl Abyss about this also giving into Eurogamer. It says, quote, in our last quarter earnings call, which is publicly available, we revealed that we also would publish Crimson Desert independently. And we would, of course, honor the appreciation of our business partners who also are constantly in touch with about our progress and plans, and we're discussing various forms of collaboration with them. Yeah, the old school model, again, and we've had this talk many, many times. If it's your first-party game, I don't think you should. And I agree that Xbox shouldn't put their first-party titles on PlayStation day and date. They should keep them back for a bit, right? Because Sony's doing it, right? Microsoft shouldn't do it. But Microsoft wants all the money up front, right? They want to try to make as much money as fast as possible instead of over the thing. So, I mean, but it is successful. Sea of Thieves was successful on PlayStation. Forza was very successful on PlayStation. I'm sure Halo will be very successful on PlayStation. But the fact is that at least Sony still keeps their first-party titles close to their chest for, even if it's just 12 months, right? Even if it's just 12 months and then it goes to PC or whatever, at least Sony's giving the people at Sony that like the PlayStation, they're getting the exclusives, even though the majority of people are not buying them day one on Sony, and the other 50% still haven't moved from PlayStation 4. But at least Sony is trying to keep their first-party titles close to their chest. Now, I don't like when they try to get the third-party games, because that's bullshit, right? You're trying to get a third-party game to stop going to other platforms, if it's PC, if it's Nintendo, if it's Xbox, just so they can get out there so people would buy your system, even though it's coming out at a later date. I never liked that. Never liked that. I don't care who does it or what company was doing it. I hated when third-party games were picked up exclusively for that console. It's just dumb. First party all day long, by all means, until you're blue in the face. If you want to keep your first-party titles and never release them on any other product, by all means, go ahead. But if you want to make money, you're going to release them sooner or later. But these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about Crimson Desert? Would you be as excited if Crimson Desert was only coming for PlayStation? Would you go buy a PlayStation? I know it's a hypothetical, right? But if you don't own a PlayStation right now, would you go buy a PlayStation to play Crimson Desert after all the stuff that you've seen? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. And if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see what you guys are saying here. Sorry for the popping in the microphone. My mouth gets dry when I should drink a little bit more. I talk so much, my mouth gets dry. Eclipse says, Eclipse says, I got a feeling that this stuff is coming back up to PC player base, riled up because what did they do when they said they were also going to make an account to play Helldivers? It's true. Yeah. Jesse Mack says, oh, Sony. Oh, Sony. Oh, Sony. Got lots of exclusives. How many more you got left in the tank before it's eventually let it go? Let it go. Mo says, nope, wouldn't exist for me. Let's see. It won't happen, but I'll wait, and I'll wait until a long time for it, so I'll wait more. Oh, for Wolverine, because Walter Bear was talking about Wolverine PC day and date. Let's go, Sony. I don't think they're going to announce that, do you? They announced, what, September 15th? That's when it comes out, right? For Wolverine. It'll be interesting to see how many people on the Sony platform buy it day one. Do we think it goes as big as like Spider-Man 1? I don't think so. Maybe. Problem is that Spider-Man 1 was on PlayStation 4, and there was way more PlayStation 4s at the time than now, and Spider-Man's a much more popular character, even though I like Wolverine. But I'm not on PlayStation right now, right? I was on PlayStation 4 when Spider-Man came out, but they're not getting a sale for me. So I'm one that's gone. I'm sure there's many other people that are not on that used to be a PlayStation person. This is the first PlayStation I've never owned. I've always had every PlayStation, every Xbox. Kyle says, from what I've seen, no chance. If it reviewed the best game ever and no one would also stop talking about it, then maybe I'd buy a PlayStation 5, but not likely. Travis says, day one, nothing to pre-order as soon as I can. I think it goes big 4 to 7 million sold because it's brutal as hell. Krebsy says, GTA 6 releases 2 months later. You think it's going to be console and then PC 2 months later? Or everywhere else later? God, we had this conversation before. Do you think GTA is just exclusive for one platform? Maybe Netflix gets it again because now they're not going to get Paramount, so they're like, we'll get the rights for GTA and put it on all Netflix. Aku says, why would I buy it on a system that's part of the inferior console race? Jesse Mack says, Sony already got Wolverine exclusivity because if it's Sony, it's a Sony do best. Well, let's be honest. Insomniac approached Xbox way back when for Spider-Man. They said no. So that's a Microsoft ball drop there. Waterbear says GTA PC day one, day and date, because it cost $2 billion to make. Oh, Clemmy says, no. GTA 6 releases 2 months after Wolverine. Oh, sure, but that's plenty of time because Wolverine's not a live service game, right? It's a single-player game. They'll be fine. That's plenty of time. Hey, you buy that game, you play it, and you're good. All right, the next thing I want to talk about, still Sony, but it's Sony Pictures. Sony Pictures. Okay, Sony's had a weird time. We read an article, was it yesterday or Monday? I think it was Monday, talking about how Peter Parker doesn't exist in the MCU anymore, which doesn't make any sense. But if you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. So Sony plans to reboot the wider Spider-Man universe after Craven, Madam Web, and Morbius failures. What are they going to do? Are they going to remake these movies that just came out? Like, I haven't read the article yet, but this seems ridiculous. They're like, well, we failed with Spider-Man's universe, other characters of Craven, Madam Web, and Morbius. I'm so baffled by these studios, man. So Sony Film CEO Tom Rothman has confirmed that the company has plans to reboot Sony's broader Spider-Man universe after a series of high-profile flops in the films The Craven, Madam Web, and Morbius. Okay, this comes from a conversation with... what are they going to do, chat? Are they going to make them all done in AI? For fuck's sake. This comes in a conversation with Matt Belloni on The Town. Is Rothman answers a series of questions with fairly short yes or no responses. When asked, is the larger Spider-Verse dead? He said no. He then confirmed that Sony would go back to those films at some point, and those also affirm it will also be a fresh reboot with new people. Rothman did not provide any further details. This is the dumbest thing. Like, you wouldn't reboot these things for a good 15 years, 20 years. They just came out 5 years ago. You're going to reboot them again? I don't understand. This is like the dumbest thing ever. Sony's Spider-Man verse has struggled ever since it first kicked off in 2018 with Venom. Though Venom and its follow-ups, Carnage 2021 and The Last Dance in 2024 did quite well in the box office. Yeah, they did. that's because he's a cool character and people like Venom. Okay. All three were actually panned and general received poorly by the wider audience as well. Even worse was Morbius 2022. God, did that come out in 2022? Jesus. Which is also regarded as such a poor movie, it became a meme. And which also followed by the similar box office disaster of Madam Web in 2024. And then Kraven the Hunter in 2024. At the same time, ongoing Sony Pictures CEO described Kraven the Hunter as probably the worst launch he's ever seen in 7.5 years since he first stepped into his role. Well, that's not a very long time. He also blamed all the SSU failures on the press for criticizing them. Oh, here we go. Not that the fucking movie sucked balls, but it's failures because on the press of criticizing them. Yeah, that's their job. They actually did their job for one time. When you came out with a movie and the movie sucked balls, and they're like, "This is a bad movie. Don't waste your money." And they're like, "Oh, it would have done better if they didn't criticize the film." Yeah. Thank you for telling us it was a shitty movie, so no one went to go see it. That's how it works. Make product, sell product. Not make product, give me money, you blind bastards. Bad movies make no money. Bad video games make no money. Bad books make no money. Good movie, make money. Good book, make money. Good game, make money. It's crazy how that works, chat, right? It's crazy how capitalism works. If you're curious, these are also reviews for every SSU film with the score was given them at the time. Venom, 4 out of 10. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, 7 out of 10. Morbius, 5 out of... Wait a minute. You're telling me Venom got scored lower than Morbius? Jesus Christ. Madam Web, 5 out of 10. Venom, The Last Dance, 4 out of 10. And Kraven the Hunter, 3 out of 10. As for what the reboots entail, Rothman is keeping that under his mask for now, though whatever is also really likely to sometime to spin up. At least it still has a regular Spider-Man who has also been in theaters July. That Sony is so cooked, right? The only reason Spider-Man made the money, right? You can go look at every release of Spider-Man, right? Don't get me wrong. Tobey Maguire and Franco made good movies. They made good money. But Tom Holland's Spider-Man made way more money. Do you know why? Because he was linked to the MCU. At the time, MCU was the shit. Was the top of the movie industry. Right? So Spider-Man, even though he's beloved, and he almost made $1 billion when he was Tobey Maguire and stuff, when they came out, they made a shit ton of money because he was linked to the MCU. So they're like, man, Spider-Man making a lot of money. We can't rely on this. We have to use, right? We have to use this. And they have to try to get these guys out and do something. Because if Sony can't make these guys work or do something, they're going to have to sell them off. They own all these IPs of characters, and none of them can make money. None of them can make money. The only one that makes money for them is Spider-Man. That's it. Sony's going to lose this 10 years from now. If Spider-Man is the only one that's making money, they're going to lose it. They're going to have to sell it off. No one's going to the movies. What are they going to do? Let's see what you guys are saying over here. The game they made for Xbox was Sunset Overdrive. Mechanics were also very close to Spider-Man. Oh, it was a good game. It was a good game. Jason says, just make a goddamn Spider-Man TV show that's just on point. Go through his whole life like Smallville. Oh, God, that would be good, Jason. That would be great. I would watch that. Smallville was fantastic. Eclipse says, I think Wolverine will be soon on PC, probably in January, just like they did with Spider-Man 2. That was like 14 months, though, wasn't it? It was pretty... I mean, it was fast, but it wasn't that fast. Sarge says, move the fuck on. Do something different. Dustin says, bad game, make money. Yeah, bad games do make money, and then people bitch about it. And they're like, yeah, they do. But then they also get shit on. You don't want to get shit on? Make a good game. Why'd they give Venom 3, 4 out of 10? I have no idea. I didn't watch any of the Venoms. I have yet to see any Venoms because I didn't give a shit. Travis says, wait, did he give Madam Web anything above a 0? 100%. Holland and Civil War completely changed the brand of Spider-Man. It went up to the next level because he was attached with every other character, because comic book fans wanted to see Spider-Man in the MCU. Jesse Max says 30. Sony Pictures is making a reboot of Spider-Man's universe. Instead of using Peter Parker, they just use this to sell Miles Morales, propaganda, profits, and younger audience. Sure. Yeah. I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and stuff like that, the Miles Morales, I think that's great. Honest to God, I think those are great movies. Both of them. I think they're both fantastic films. Looking forward to the third one. But I have a video on this. Miles Morales is not as popular as Peter Parker. Don't care what anyone says. The proof's in the pudding. Proof's in the pudding. Because at the end of the day, there's only one Spider-Man. People just say Spider-Man. When they say Miles Morales Spider-Man, they have to say Miles Morales. It goes back to Marvel, right? If they don't make a movie, this is why they make it. This is when Tom Holland said he's done being Spider-Man. I said, no, he's not. No, he's not. Because they left it hanging, and he has to come back, and they have to make a movie within 5 years. They got to make it. They had to start production. That's why he was already filming last year. They have to start production of Spider-Man every 5 years. If Marvel doesn't make a Spider-Man film every 5 years, they lose the license. It goes back to Marvel. This is why you always get a Spider-Man reboot. Now, I'm not sure how it works if they make a movie with anybody in the Spider Universe. If that's the case, that's why they pump those out. Because if it went past the 5 years and Venom counts and Craven counts and Madam Web counts, this is why they're going to keep making it. Because they don't want to lose it, and they would rather lose money on those than lose the license. I would have to dig deeper into that. Because before it was just Spider-Man they were making. But now they're making everything in the Spider Universe. So I wonder if this is why Spider-Man is a little bit further down than it was normally. Ron says we need a live action Batman Beyond. I don't know if we need a live action one. You're going to get an overload of Batman in the next couple of years. You're going to get a lot of fucking Batman. You're getting James Gunn rebooting Batman. You got the other Batman that came out a couple years ago with Robert Pattinson. They're like, how do we squeeze out that as much as possible? They don't know what to do. They're completely lost. Hollywood's completely lost. They're making reboots and remasters, just like the video game industry. Just like the video game industry. Completely lost. No original stuff anymore. They're worried about AI not doing original stuff. Meanwhile, Hollywood's just pumping out non-original stuff. Imagine that. It's like, oh, yeah, we're going to bring back original stuff. Travis, what did you send me? You said you sent me something? Was that I don't give a shit about Saints Row. If that's the thing you sent me, I don't give a shit about Saints Row. Nobody cares about Saints Row. Jesse Max says, you know why Sony Spider-Man universe movies keep on flopping? Because they didn't get a single Spider-Man in it. Yeah. Yeah. But if they did that though, Jesse, if they made a Spider-Man and Spider-Man was in Venom and Spider-Man was in Morbius and Spider-Man was in, They would kill Spider-Man. Spider-Man would lose what he is. Argus says the whole keeping the IP shit is so annoying. I mean, this is why Universal, they lost the Hulk. Hulk went back to Marvel, but he's also in some stipulation he can't be in a movie by himself. But I believe the Hulk went back to Marvel. I think that happened like 18 months ago or something like that. Let me see what else we got. Let's see what else we got. I don't know if I want to go into that story, Krebsy, that you submitted today. We might do that. Let me see if I can scroll up and see if we have something else. Oh, I just bit my lip. Tomorrow on the show, we're probably going to watch some videos. We'll probably watch a couple of YouTube videos and comment on those. Travis says, oh, it's a stupid story, but I agree. It's dead, and this is how it should be. Let me bring up anything that's going on Twitter. Yeah, because I don't want to dig into, because we never know what the news stories are. Kingdom Come Deliverance director is stepping away from game development. The writer and designer will instead helm efforts to produce a Kingdom Come Deliverance movie. Well, good for him. Toxic Commando. Guys, if you pre-order coming early in 2026, get it now. Secret Stash DLC. One skin for each playable character to be unveiled soon. I hate when they do this shit. So you want me to get this for pre-order, right? It says get it now and get Leon's Secret Stash DLC. I don't get that if I get the game later? Only if I get it now? Krebsy Gaming. MCU says 2018, good times. Yeah. Seems like an eternity ago, doesn't it? Jesse Max says 30. Tom Holland will return anyway in Secret Wars when he gets the black suit for the very first time. Do we know that for sure? Do we know that is official? Because I know that you're talking about the comics, but do you know if that's what's going to happen inside the actual show? Elder Scrolls Online, the Gold Road collection is coming to PlayStation Plus. Trying to see what other things are happening. Nothing. Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy is $8.99 right now on PSN. I'm confused. Let's have a little conversation here for a second, right? I'm a little confused by. Let's go back to Xbox for a second. I said this last night when we were playing the game.
Bring back Edward Norton Hulk. He was the best movie Hulk.
I kind of agree. I didn't like what's the other guy's name? When before Edward Norton. Banner. Not Banna. What was his name? Not Christian Bale. Was it Christian Bale? I forget the guy's name. The hell was his name? I don't want to look it up. I know you guys are going to tell me. Eric Bana. It was Bana, right? Yeah, Eric Bana.
Gaming
Yeah.
/ Holly, we need original content because of AI. Also Gaming / Holly, releases 300th game that plays like Assassin's Creed.
We need an original content because of AI. Also gaming. Release 300th game and plays like Assassin's Creed. Yeah. Thank you very much for the $5 Eclipse. And thank you for the $5 Aku. Appreciate you guys. Now we get Captain America, She-Hulk, My Kids, and the Multiverse. Miss Z, Marvel. Yeah, I liked his thing. Yeah, it was good, but I thought I liked Ed Norton's version of it. I didn't like Lee's directing. I hate the very first Marvel's Avengers film, right? Before you start talking about Xbox again, right? The very first Marvel's Avengers film, when Hulk came on the screen, I've told this story before. I was so excited. I'm a big Hulk fan. I love Hulk, man. Right? And when he came on the screen, and he's like, I'm always angry, and he fucking punches the thing, I was like, yes. And he's like leaped up in the air. I was like, yes. I was like, I can't wait for more of this. And then we get fucking Beta Hulk the entire time through the MCU. I was like, what the fuck? And then there was a glimpse of hope, right? Just a small glimpse of Ragnarok. And I was like, yes. And then they're like, no. And then it was done. And I was just like, and then the show came out. I didn't watch the show. I saw clips and I was like, oh, for God's sakes, with the She-Hulk. I was like, this is the worst, man. What did they do to Hulk? What did they do to him? And then you get Winter Soldier, not Winter Soldier, Captain America, Brave New World. And you don't even get the real Hulk. You get Red Hulk. He's in the movie for like, I don't know, 30 seconds, minute and a half. So ridiculous. How do you do that to a character like that? God, it's so frustrating. Multi-billion-dollar business, and they're like, let's take this character and just completely ruin him. CGI is too expensive. Great, paint a guy. Thank you very much for the sub. Paint a guy. Paint him. I don't give a shit. I don't want to hear about anything about CGI is too expensive anymore. I know you're saying it, right? Because now we've seen what C-Dance and stuff can do. Take your fingers, you type it in, right? And then take that clip and put it in a goddamn movie. I don't give a shit. I don't care how they do it. If they do it themselves, if they give it to AI. If I go to a theater and I watch something and it looks fucking awesome, I don't care if a guy in his living room did it or if a person in a multi-billion-dollar studio did it. If it looks cool, fantastic. I don't care if someone worked on it for 6 months or 6 seconds. Right? Because everyone says AI slop. AI slop is AI slop until it's not AI slop. Because all you care about as fans is you're being entertained. That's it. If I can see Hulk fight Wolverine, okay, in a movie and it looks awesome, well, damn right I'm going to be like, this is great. Because now, if they didn't tell us about AI and we didn't see C-Dance and stuff it's doing, and you just went to the theater and saw, you're like, man, that CGI is so good. But now it's not about the CGI. Now is that AI? Is that AI? Michelle Beastie says, just stopping in and saying terrible twos are so 90s. The teen years are brutal for the mother. Really going through it now. I'm sorry to hear that. Krebsy says we got Beta Hulk before we got World Breaker Hulk. Sigh. Yeah. Yeah, it's brutal, isn't it? Krebsy, remember when we used to have conversations? You used to come to the show and we used to have what what could happen in the Marvel shows. Those were good times. Those were good times. Speculations, what it could have been. Man, that feels like an eternity ago. Saint says, how can we tell if it was CGI or AI? Exactly. My point, Saint, is we look at AI right now that's on the internet and we're like, it looks so AI. But then go to the movies the last 5 years and go look at some of the CGI and you're like, man, that looks great. I just love it. Some of the stuff that's online right now is better than what we saw in the movies CGI 4 or 5 years ago. Makes you wonder, was a guy working really hard in the studio and trying to make CGI, or was it just AI with the technology we didn't know they had? Because it's hard to tell for a lot of stuff. Because I've seen some prompts that people make and the fighting looks fantastic. And then I've seen other ones that you're like, oh, that looks AI. Altered says there was something in the contract that makes Hulk so simp. Was there somewhere that he says that he can't use Hulk, but he also can't make him energy person? I think the problem was, I don't know if it was the contract Altern, but I do know that he couldn't have a standalone movie because of Universal. Universal said that you can use Hulk, but you can't put him in his own movie. They were the only ones that were allowed to use him in his own movie, but they didn't want to make a movie. Right? So Universal made money off the MCU because of Hulk, so they kind of just put him in there. Same as with Spider-Man. When Spider-Man was in, they get money. Universal gets money, right? Because they licensed the Hulk back out to them. They can't make a standalone film with him. Now I'm not sure. I forget if Universal dropped it and it went back to Marvel. I'm not sure. I think there's still some stipulation there. This is why we never got a standalone Hulk movie in the MCU. Jesse says, will we see Maestro Hulk? I would say we would see Maestro Hulk before we see another standalone Hulk. We could see him put, in something rather than a standalone. I would like to see a standalone of when, I don't need a story again of how he's going up against the general and stuff like that. Like, I want to see some other type of story with Hulk. Yeah, Mephisto. Yeah. The Spider Noir show looks cool, though. That's with Nicolas Cage. Yeah, it seems interesting. We'll see what happens when it comes out. Why did Marvel license and sell individual characters? They're screwing themselves. Because they were going bankrupt, just enough. Marvel was going bankrupt. So they had to sell off bits and pieces. Hence why they lost the X-Men. Hence why they lost Fantastic Four. Hence why they lost Hulk. Hence why they lost Spider-Man. They had to stay alive. Sony lost the rights to merchandise. Sony was struggling, and Sony had to sell back the merchandise to Marvel. So they used to own the rights to Spider-Man, all the merchandise to Spider-Man, but they were also having problems. So they had to sell back the merchandise to Marvel for Spider-Man. So when Spider-Man has product out there, Sony doesn't get any of that. They get the rights for the movies. Everyone thinks they own the rights to Spider-Man. They don't own the rights to Spider-Man. They own the rights to Spider-Man in the movie form. Krabsy says we're supposed to get some Hulk stuff during with Doomsday. They'll probably kill him off in 3 seconds. That's what they'll do. They'll show him on screen. They'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then they'll kill him. Dead. Which actually might be better. Hulk's going to be in the next Spider-Man as well, along with Punisher. Don't you get my fucking hopes up, Jason. That can't be. That can't be. If Hulk is in, from what we heard the other day, Peter Parker doesn't exist in the MCU. If Hulk is in that movie, okay? If Hulk is in that movie, he's in the MCU. Michelle says, I would love to see a rom-com show showing Bruce and his love interest, him battling his emotions as Bruce, as also the Hulk during his relationship. Justin Love says maybe he just goes from Beta Hulk to World Breaker at some point. It's already confirmed. Well, then how? That's awesome because I don't read that stuff a lot anymore. How does Peter Parker doesn't exist in the MCU though? If now Hulk is there, and Punisher's there, and Punisher and Hulk are in the MCU, how does that work? I'm asking because we just read the thing that says that Peter Parker doesn't exist in the MCU anymore. Don't worry, guys. 3 hours and 45 minutes of Doomsday film with 100% return. MCU is the glory days. I mean, it's getting delayed. Berthal and Punisher was there on set. No, I understand that. What I'm asking is why did they come out and say that Peter Parker doesn't exist in the MCU anymore? Doesn't make sense. Mr. Luke says because Spider-Man still does. But Spider-Man is Peter Parker. please make it sense. Make it make sense. No, I know. I understand that. I've watched the movie. I understand. They forget, right? Peter Parker still exists because his name is still Peter Parker. They just forgot that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. No, I understand that, Luke. I understand that. I understand that the superheroes don't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but Peter Parker still exists. That's his name. He walks around and says, "Hi, my name is Peter Parker." He exists. I understand that the superheroes that knew him no longer know him, but to say that he doesn't exist in the MCU is fucking retarded. Titan says studios lie to hype up things. No way, Titan. Are you kidding me? Of course they lie. Hence why I'm saying it's fucking stupid that they say stuff like that. Spider-Man's brand new day and Doomsday taking place both time in New York City and Doomsday is in space. That's why they're saying that. Just think about it, though, for a second, Jesse. It doesn't make sense. I get that the superheroes, the spell was casted. They don't know who Peter was to protect him. But Peter Parker still exists in the MCU. It's just that the people in the MCU don't know who Peter Parker is again. But as soon as he introduces himself or says something stupid, and again, there's people smart enough to put two and two together. I hate that YouTube is bugged out and some of my messages aren't showing. Are you in top? Make sure you're not in make sure you're in live chat and not top chat, Altern. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Titan says I can't tell sarcasm sometimes. I am sarcastic 99% of the time. Dr. Doom is going to go to American Chavez and say, "I'll bring back your mothers, if you kill the Avengers for me." He is no longer Peter Parker. He's now Peter Parker. That's right. He's completely changed his name. His name is Parker Peter. He put on glasses and now everyone doesn't know who he is. Eclipse says, "This is why I hate movies nowadays." I also hate when they do this, Eclipse, right? So they did an interview with Chris Hemsworth, right? And they're like, Chris Hemsworth is coming back after Doomsday. It's like, mother effers, what are you doing? Don't say that in an article, because now you literally just completely ruin anything that if it happens in Doomsday, like, oh no, Thor died. Oh, he's coming back? Oh, okay, never mind. He's fine. Right? You completely ruin any kind of drama. It's like these people don't understand. Did you see? I'm not going to say. If you guys read an article about, I think IGN ruined something else because of the Mario movie. They're like, there's a leak that happened, and they wrote an article about it. It's like, can we just enjoy things? Can we just go back to enjoying things? So when I watch a movie or I watch a show, I don't know about it fucking 15 months in advance. Please, can we just go back to let me watch the movie first and then you can spoil it instead of spoiling it before I watch the fucking movie? I've been sending messages and they show but they aren't. It's so weird. I don't understand. I don't have any filters on. I bet you Wanda will be knowing first thing that Peter Parker is Spider-Man than other Avengers did, right? It's like Black Widow movie. She won't die no matter what happens. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, oh no, she jumped off the aircraft carrier across the thing. She's diving from the thing. Is she gonna die? No, because we know when she dies. Hence why that movie should have been made before the end game. It's so ridiculous. What's going on, Mr. Luke? How you doing? Yeah, Chris Hemsworth in an interview. Yeah. No, I'm coming back for. Oh, good. So when you see Thor in Doomsday, okay, you know that Thor's not going to die. And if he does die, don't worry. They're going to bring him back in some way, shape, or form. Michelle, you're showing your age now. I remember a time when I was so peaceful in television where we went a year without knowing who shot JR. That's exactly right. And you'd have to put Dallas because I know who that is. It's so ridiculous. Oh, I know we're off on a tangent about movies and Marvel and stuff like that. I want to go back and just ask about Xbox for a second, right? For you guys, right? They're like, we don't know what to do as Xbox to make games. And last night when we were playing Hytale, I was like, why don't they just make smaller games? They have a perfect platform to do this, right? Everyone likes indie games. They have the world's largest publishers and studios. They have tens of thousands of people. They can just go take, I don't know, 20 companies. They can make 20 new games with 100 new people that just break off from the studios that they're with, right? And say, go make an independent game. Whatever that is, they can go make a game and be done with it in, let's say, 2 years, 3 years, right? 100 different people, small little studios making whatever they're going to make, and they just throw them on Game Pass, right? Throw them on Game Pass, get the indie collection going on Game Pass. So now if you're an indie person, you're like, oh, I want to give these indie guys a try, right? Now, obviously, they're not indie because they're underneath the umbrella. But what I'm saying is smaller games. They can go make smaller games that don't take 5, 6, 7, 10, 250, $300 million, budgets to make these games. They can just go make a $2 million game, $5 million game, right? And that would be profitable on Game Pass. I don't know why that's happening to you guys. I haven't had that happen when I'm in other people's channels, but I'll keep a lookout on it. Krebsy says over the next year, someone needs to keep track of Asha saying that the word planned to make a complication. Oh, to make a compilation. Sorry, compilation. Track of Asha saying the word plan and make a compilation. They don't know what to do because there's also nobody left on the staff that actually understands gaming. Leadership matters. You need to have an actual person that understands gaming and gaming culture. I think there's going to be a lot of pushback when the time comes when Asha's gone from the company and people will come out just like they're saying Sarah Bond wasn't very good at being a leader. You're gonna hear that because Asha's not a gamer. So when she goes to a gaming company and the guy or girl who's running the company is saying, this is what we need. She's learning that for the first time. And yes, she could learn over time. But if her picture of what the company is doing is different than what they're saying, then it doesn't fucking matter if she's listening or not. because she's focused on what she needs to do. Regardless. But like, oh, you have 100 people working on a video game? Well, how do we make that better? Well, Bob, if you have 80 people working on a video game, and we fire half and we use AI for the other 20. They're like, well, no, we need the other 20 people. Yeah, but how long are you going to be in development for? This could do it in a fraction of time, but you have to let go of 20, 30 people. Altern says Sarah Bond got hit the hardest. They kept teasing her for years that she also fills replacement. Yeah, they did her dirty. But at the same time, I'll be honest with you, Altern. If you're shit at your job and you're not making, and when I say shit, I'm not saying she didn't do anything. What I'm saying is in a corporate world, you're either making money or you're not making money for them. And if you're not making money for them, then you're bad at your job. And if you're bad at your job, you have to get replaced. We say this all the time. You can't protect the people that are bad. You can't have these people have their job and continue doing their job if they're not moving forward or doing something better for the job. So they have to get rid of them. Right? You can't just coddle someone and be like, well, yeah, it's okay. No, they're looking for returns. They're looking for something solid. And if you're not bringing that in the amount of time that you got, like day one, you got to hit the ground running. Asha right now has to hit the ground running. It doesn't matter if she's there for 2 days or 2 years. You have to show what you're doing. Otherwise, they'll get rid of you. Right? Satya got to say we got rid of 15,000 people. So everyone else is like, he gets to keep his job. He saved us a bunch of money of our car insurance. Right? That's why he's still there. Asha just an AI tech artist and the businesswoman. Of course, will be willing to stay there for more a while before she leaves. And Asha is also the other version of KK World now. Oh, Kathleen Kennedy World now? Yeah. Sarah just didn't have the plan for the right plan, about the future plan, to make food plans. And a plan, we all know, a plan's a plan until it's not a plan. Michelle says, I know we're going to get leaked next year at the hair salon. I heard Mystique is getting a solo movie when she's in the origin story. It's also she's only evil person, Mr. Sinister. I hope they don't do this. I hope they don't do this either. Marvel would be idiotic if they took X-Men, right? They bring X-Men in, and then they start making X-Men have all these X-Men like separate movies. There's a Storm movie, the original origin movie, right? If this is what they're going to do, this is also going to be a bomb. Okay, if they show the X-Men in Doomsday and whatever else, and then all of a sudden they reboot and try to do what they did in Phase 1, but in this phase, but it's all X-Men. So like Xavier starts up the school, and then they have Storm showing you that it's a crossover with Black Panther, and then you have Beast, and you know what I'm saying? Like if they have all these separate movies like that, I'm not there for that. I'll just wait for all of them to be done, and then I'll watch them later. I'm not going bit by bit like you did with the other ones. It was cool when they did it with Iron Man and Thor and Captain America and built the Avengers, but now if you take the X-Men and then you're ripping them out and then building them back up, I'm good. I don't need a backstory, right? Especially since how the hell are they going to do Magneto's backstory? How are they going to do it? You can't modernize it. You can't modernize his backstory. His backstory is very distinct. Very distinct. If you change it, I don't care. I will not watch it if you change his story. You cannot take Magneto and make him into a modern day. His whole history is literally based on concentration camps and stuff. Like in World War. You know what I'm saying? Like that is his backstory. If they change that in any way, shape, or form, I don't care. I don't care about the backstory about how Storm became Storm. I don't need any of that. Been there, seen it, done that. That probably I'll turn. And if they do that, it's done. You can't change his race, by the way. You can't change him. You do that, you're done. You can't do that either. What's this? Now that Gearbox Devcast, we're breaking down Borderlands 4 Bounty Pack 2. No, I don't care about that. Let's hope they do it like they did with Spider-Man. Which what do you mean, Luke? How they did with Spider-Man? Krebsy says multiverse Magneto is from a universe where the Germans won. I'll leave that up there for a second. What else we got here? 2 new arc machines have been spotted on the surface. They demand new strategies for combat, whether or not there's a flamethrower. There's a flamethrower on top of the droids, the arc now? Jesus. Oh, you're saying what they did with Spider-Man. They didn't have to tell the story. Yeah. No, that's fine. If they don't tell the story, we already know the story. Meaning if they don't tell the story, then his backstory is what we know, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Okay, I'm saying I hope they don't show all the X-Men during the Doomsday, and then after Doomsday happens, they start to make releases of movies of like the backstories of each of the characters to kind of bring them in again as the X-Men. Scott Summers will also lead X-Men into Doomsday anyway. In the movies, people will stand up waiting for Scott Summers, say the line, X-Men on me, and then freaking out. It'll be the Captain America with the hammer moment. No, I'm excited for X-Men. I just don't want each individual movie leading up to the X-Men. All right. Doesn't look like anything of value right now has happened on Twitter to add to the stories that we've already covered. It is 12 o'clock. So I don't know, 3 hours and 45 minutes. People may be sleeping by the time that happens. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, to play some games with Sarge on Shooting the Shit with Sarge tonight at 8 o'clock. If you don't come back tonight over on our other channel, 30 and Still Gaming, we'll be back tomorrow morning for 30 NSG. You can also watch the past broadcasts on this channel, and you can also watch the uploads that we've done. I've done some uploads talking about certain topics. Go check out the rest of our content. If you want to also support us, you can also listen to our music that we do. We play it before the show. You can listen to it on all platforms, on iHeart, Pandora, Apple Music, all those places. I do appreciate you very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Yo. Yeah,
used to be wars, now it's open doors. Gamers everywhere, no matter the store. Multi-platform rise, let's go. Cross-play, cross-life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Cross-play, cross-life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Remember the times when the console wars burned? Had to pick a side, bridges never got turned. Exclusive drops kept us stuck in the fight. Now they shipping everywhere and it feeling right. Halo hit Steam, Kratos left home. Sony cross seas, now we standing on Chrome. Call of Duty don't care where you log in, whether blue, green, red. Everybody everybody's locked in. Back then, bragging like my box the best. Now it's yo, what you playing on? That's the real flex. Squads don't split, we unite for the win. Whether PC frames or a pad in your hand. Nintendo still holding Mario tight, but even rumors say Zelda might take flight. From couch to the cloud, from a disc to a stream. Gaming's for us all, that's the multiplied dream. Cross play, cross life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Cross play, cross life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Game Pass rolling, making deals on the low. Sony dropping ports, watch the fan base grow. Even the Switch getting big boy drops. Monster Hunter, Fortnite can't make it stop. Epic and Steam, once fighting for the crown. Now it's like, yo, let the players get down. Cloud stream service, you can play on a phone. Doesn't matter where, you ain't playing alone. From Tekken to FIFA, from Destiny raids, everybody linking up, no matter the shade. Fanboys crying, but the world too loud. Gamers stand tall, multi-platform and proud. Imagine back then if they saw this day. Master Chief on PlayStation, Kratos on Game Pass Play. Sonic and Mario shook hands long ago. Now it's every IP learning how to grow. So no more division, the culture's too wide. We gaming together, controllers collide. This is the future, man, it ain't pretend. Every platform, every player gaming won't end. Cross play, cross life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Cross play, cross life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Cross play, no walls, no wars, just games we adore. Platform forever, that's what we're